If you're a fine art lover, you are surely familiar with Surrealism. But did you know it's also a popular photography genre? That's right, many photographers are using their craft to create images that defy reality, challenge logic, and encourage the viewer to think outside the box. Surrealism as an art movement was a means of uniting fantasy and reality, the juxtaposition of the rational and the irrational. According to the creator of the movement, Surrealism was a means of reuniting conscious and unconscious realms of experience so completely that the world of dream and fantasy would be joined to the everyday rational world in an absolute reality, a surreality. Not to be confused with abstract photography, surreal photography almost always contains recognizable objects. However, it arranges them in unique and unexpected ways. It takes the real world and turns it into a dream world. The word surrealism was coined in 1917, but the movement was officially established in 1924 when the French poet André Breton published his Surrealist Manifesto. From the 1920s on, the movement spread around the world, affecting literature, music, movies, and of course, visual arts, including photography. By its very nature, surreal photography encourages you to let your imagination run wild. For that reason, the opportunities are endless. Some examples of the different styles of surreal photography include conceptual self-portraits, fantasy, photo manipulation, surreal portraits, horror elements, dreamlike still lifes, surreal photo compositions, double exposures. Surrealism, especially in the beginning, was all about breaking the rules. But that doesn't mean there aren't a few guidelines that you, as a surrealist photographer, shouldn't keep in the back pocket if you want your photos to be successful. On the other hand, when it comes to surreal photography, rules are meant to be broken. So use these tips as you will. The whole concept of surrealism is to question the rationale. So things that don't make any sense work perfectly well in surreal photography. Shoot things out of their element. Subject matter that contrasts with its surroundings is another way to challenge reality in your own images. Go for the unexpected. At its very core, the goal is to surprise your viewers and give them a reason to think about what they're looking at. Show them something they've never seen before. Use motion blur. Use your slow shutter speed when shooting subjects to capture motion blur. It's a simple way to create a dreamlike effect of your images. Or try moving your camera around when you shoot. Remember, you can bend the rules with surrealism. Use creative editing. Normally, when editing your photos, you try to keep your images as close to reality as possible. That's not necessarily the case with surreal photography. You are free to change the colors to anything you want. For example, do you want a green sky and purple grass? Go for it. Remember, this is your world. Or flip a photo upside down or on its side if it helps tell your story. Make sure lighting is consistent across composites. One of the most important factors for achieving a believable look for composite images is to make sure you have consistent lighting across your image. That means all your light sources and shadows match. Nothing will ruin a composite faster than a shadow facing the wrong direction. When it comes to composites, the devil is in the details. Use reflections. You may have noticed that reflections in mirrors are a recurring theme in surreal photography. That's because they hide your subject and bend reality. There are so many creative ways to incorporate reflections and mirrors into your photography. Try it. For the photographers who consider themselves true artists, surreal photography will really appeal to your artistic sensibilities. It allows you to freely express yourself creatively. You are only limited by your imagination, so let it run wild.